So feel free to bob cameras off. Hello everyone and welcome along to 10 Things and the Virtual Staff Room with Zaitoon. Very excited to have her here today from the wet northwest, we've decided, but I don't know when the northwest isn't wet, to be honest. It's kind of what I think it is all the time. And I'm excited to learn your 10 things, so over to you.
Thank you. Right, just a quick little introduction about me, who I am and where we're situated here in the Northwest. So I'm Zaitoon Bukhari. I'm currently the EdTech lead at Witton Park Academy in Blackburn. I'm very quickly I'm actually in the thick of starting my new role come September, where I am the MAT lead for EdTech. So I'll have 4 schools under me, going through the same process of implementing their digital strategy and going through all the education technology and how it works in the classroom. So we are this session today, we're looking at how we can digitalize our staff CPD. Now, this is it's a project that was very close to my heart. It's my innovator project, my Google Innovator project. And I started this off back in 2019. The idea came into my mind about how we can digitalize or put out all of our CPD that we do in one place. Okay, I've been teaching for 14 years here at Witton Park, and the amount of times we've gone and sat through a CPD session with an external party coming in or with our own staff in that hall, going through it, and we're coming away from it thinking, well, what exactly have we gained from this? Have we gained anything from it? And then not having the time to go back over anything or to look into anything again. So taking all those ideas into my mind and thinking we need to have something in place so that we can share and collaborate with our staff across the school on all these new initiatives that are coming in, what's working, what's not working for them, and how is it working. So I pitched an idea first to our SLT members and to our CPL lead here at Witton Park about creating a platform. We weren't quite sure what the platform would look like. To host, really. It was at the beginning, it was just to host all of this CPD that we were doing, put it into one place so we can access it at a later date. And that's where this idea came about from. So I want to showcase to you our CPD platform and how it looks now and how it's evolved over time and how it's carrying on evolving, how we've adapted ourselves to using it on a daily basis now. So I'm going to just showcase to you, I'm going to present to you my Cpd dashboard. And here it is. Okay, so it's made on Google Sites, a very simple tool to use. It's a tool that has the ability to incorporate a whole load of other tools as well. So Google Forms is in there, we've got media in there. So it allows us to incorporate all the different mediums that we need. So we started off with very simple. We wanted all of our staff, not just the teaching staff, but staff across the school to feel valued with their CPD, with their professional development as well. So we have our teaching staff, we have our support staff in there. Any particular, I did build that platform, Ian, completely from scratch. And the support staff, all of our TAs are in there. Any courses that would be useful for them to have a look at, it's all in there for them. Even our admin staff, making sure that they had a space where they could go and upskill themselves on maybe EdTech kind of tools where we were using Google across the school. We're a one-to-one Chromebook school. We're also a Google reference school. So at this point in time, we have just taken out all of our Windows devices in classrooms and replaced it with a Chromebox. All of our students have a Chromebook, and our admin staff are working towards going down that route of using Chrome instead of having to use anything else. So we're on this really steep journey quite quickly now, to make sure that all of us are working from the same tools. So we have our just at the top here, we have our announcement banner. Any new CPD that comes up that is due for us to have a look at, any new videos that have been created by staff, it's all on our banner. We just click there, it goes directly to that place. So I'm just going to show you some of the aspects of our teaching staff dashboard. So firstly, our curriculum, our whole curriculum across the school, what we believe in, how we complete it, our intent, our implement, everything is transparent. It's on the CPD dashboard. We're all able to see it. And then from there, we're able to see all the aspects of quality assurance, any philosophies of learning that we might have. We have become, over the years, increasingly engaged in evidence-based teaching and learning. So a lot of the things that are brought to us now has got evidence behind it. It's got reading behind it. We take our time to look through books as a school. So we create something called the book club, and within the book club, we had 2 major books that we've really dwelled in, and that's become our principles of our teaching here. So Magenta Principles being one, and the Rose and Shine Principles. Now, with these, we didn't just give the staff books to read. Everyone got a copy, but we did something with it. We took it one step further. On a week-to-week basis, this was all done over virtual learning at the time of lockdown. As week on week went by, we asked the staff to read particular pages. And as they were reading the particular pages, we asked them to look and consider their thought process whilst they were reading those pages. There was questions to answer and so on. But as time went on, we started to think, how can we vocalize what staff are thinking whilst they're reading these pages? So we had our NQT, our new staff coming in. We have had staff who've been here for over 20, 30 years. Giving them a medium and giving them a platform where they can vocalize what they thought, we started to create our very own podcasting. So as the weeks went on, we started to create our podcasts that were intertwined with all of our books and how our books are being used within the classroom. It just gave us that little bit of an edge. It gave us enthusiasm, and it, as a teacher, we quite often spend a lot of time trying to make our students' lessons really engaging and inspiring, and we really think about how we can differentiate their learning. But we don't really think, as a provider to teachers, we don't really think how we can provide differentiation to our teachers. How can we excel their learning process as well? So this was our platform to excel that learning process. It allowed staff to pick and choose, in a way, how they wanted their learning process to go. So I'm just going to show you an example of what I mean, where we say they were able to pick and choose. So I'm just going to go back down to our curriculum here. And just at the bottom here, we have a twilight session we did. Okay, so this is a twilight session. It gives us the aims of the session, very clear, an introduction. Again, it was just a screencastify video explaining what we're going to be doing. But then we were able to choose which strategies we think, as a teacher, it will work in our classroom. Okay, so we had an opportunity to choose 2 to dwell in, to think about. We were provided with the theory, the wider reading behind it, as well as some takeaway practical resources as well. So we've gone from having sat in one room, the whole teaching staff being taught one thing and taking away what we possibly could, to having it bespoke to what we need and our needs, and being provided with a variety of ready-made resources that we can just take, make a copy, and use tomorrow. So from there, at the end of every single twilight or inset that we do, we have our evaluation. Okay, you probably know that there's a date on the top. There is no ownership over how long we have in order to complete that evaluation. So if for some people it takes 2 weeks to complete that CPD, what they've asked us to do in terms of our CPD, it takes us 2 weeks. It's done in our own time. So this is an opportunity for teachers to invest their personal time into something that they want to do in order to increase their teaching understanding. So it gives it that bespoke personal learning, okay? And with this evaluation form, the CPD lead is able to see across the board quite quickly who has completed it, who needs a little bit of a nudge to get something done, or who might be struggling. And it gives her an opportunity to go and speak to that person and provide that one-to-one support if that support is needed. So our CPD dashboard has become the hub of our school. Everything that we are doing, we have got our Teach First staff in today. All of our new staff coming into the school have got the handbook on there. It's got all our visions on there, our ethos in there. Anything that they could possibly need on that first day of teaching or entering into that school is all on there. Even how to use our interactive whiteboards. There's a Screencastify on there. And it gives them a real good understanding of what we are about before they start. It allows us to see how the staff, what all the staff are, who the staff are, and how they've contributed. We have gone from maybe 1 or 2 teachers or members of staff in the school delivering CPD or being the heart of CPD to about 50% of our teaching staff providing some sort of CPD link. So it might be something that they've seen, a tool that they've used, and they've absolutely love using that tool, but they want to share their expertise. They will create a quick Screencastify for us, and we will put it into what we call the CPL bites. So it's very quick 2-3 minute videos showing staff how it's done, how to use a tool, or how to mark a piece of work in a certain way. Little things like that has increased our collaboration across the school. We know who the expertise are, where the expertise are across the school. So if I was to use Moat, for example, to mark my teaching, our English department is leading the way on that. So I would go to them, ask them for the help I need. It is as simple as just watching one of those CPD dashboard bites for me to get a really good understanding. We did all of our parents' evening using Google Meets, and again, providing staff with how to set that up. It was a quick 2-minute video that allowed all the staff to create their own appointment slot, all up onto a website, again, using Google Sites, that shared out with parents. So we are able to use the CPD dashboard in many, many ways. And in terms of our 10 most reasons why we should all start to think about having something digitalized in terms of our CPD, we have a track record from September 2020 all the way to now of every CPD inset we've had, event we've had, the feedback from staff. It's all in one place. So anyone wanting to look back at anything, they are able to pick anything up from there. They're able to reuse those resources. They know exactly where to go. I'm just going to show you very quickly on here something that kept us going during lockdown. We set up our staff social club. We had a quiz night every week at Harper State, and every single session on that was recorded, and it was brilliant. It was an opportunity for us at home to still socialize with each other, still have that amazing link that we have, and be able to provide all the other teachers who couldn't attend one of these quiz nights just to have a bit of a laugh with us as well. Okay, so that CPD, the staff quiz nights, and any other challenges that we did. Now I'll show you some of the challenges and these are stuff that we have going at the moment. So we've got Pilates, for example. It's all there for staff to book onto for their staff well-being. We had Taskmaster, the Witton Bake Off, little things like this. All these things we were able to just complete using our Google site onto our CPL dashboard. For this dashboard, we have actually won the SSAT Leading Edge Innovation Grant of 2020 and 2021. So being able to win an award for a platform that just came from a simple idea of let's put everything together. It's absolutely amazing. We are at a point now where we are creating professional material. This is a professional video that we've just created, showcasing what the CPL dashboard is and how it's being used. But on the back of this, we've created our curriculum dashboard and we've created our student dashboard. All these things are so transparent that anybody watching, anybody looking into it will be able to understand exactly what we are about, what our curriculum is about. And all the edtech tools that we are using on a daily basis now, how we are intertwining that within our curriculum. And I think that is so important because a lot of students, a lot of staff in schools, they know they have to use technology, but they're not quite understanding where and how to use that within the curriculum. So having that intertwined within there and showcasing it on the Cpd dashboard, just for all the staff to be able to see where and how to use it, it's improved things a lot. So I'm just going to showcase to you. I'm just going to pop this presentation on. So I just want to highlight to you the 10 things that I think are the most 10 things I've got out of it going digital with this Cpd dashboard. So firstly, obviously creating the bespoke, personalized, continuous development of our staff and really calling it continuous development. The efficiency, being able to say to your staff, you do not need to stay here for 2 hours on a Wednesday afternoon after you've taught all day to do this now training that we're going to sit in the hall and do. You can go home and do this, but we want it in for next week. So giving staff that opportunity to go away and do it in their own time and getting that done by a certain day and knowing that staff have done it and knowing that staff have taken something away from it, it's increased our efficiency, because when we are now doing our learning walks or when we are walking in or even down the corridor, we can hear the staff going through those principles that we are learning through the Cpd dashboard. It's giving staff a voice by providing them with a platform. There are so many staff on that platform who've done videos who I've known for 14 years who have never heard speak up when it came to a face-to-face kind of Cpd session. So having that platform where they feel comfortable that they can give their opinion on a podcast, for example, in a conversation with somebody, or being able to provide that voice when they are providing you with that information on how to use something. That has been amazing. We do, on a yearly basis, 6 sessions of 4 staff by staff, which is a half an hour booking slot where we are able to showcase something that we're passionate about. And other staff are able to book onto that to come and attend your session. And this all has evolved from the dashboard and how the dashboard's been used. And the staff who are now stood up providing that training sessions, it's changed over time massively. We've gone from the more common people to the ones who are really quiet, who are now using that platform and really providing really good Cpd across the board. So we've got increased collaboration, yes, definitely. The amount of things that are happening in science, for example, and maths, we know things are working across the school. We know we're all singing from the same hymn sheet because we're all collaborating on things really effectively. And the material is inspiring, it's engaging. We try, everything that goes onto that dashboard has to go through the various quality checks and assurance and everything like that, just to make sure that we are providing our staff with things that are inspiring, that will get them thinking, that is evidence-based research behind it. It's engaging. Shows how to, the videos that we are creating, the 2-minute videos, but it's providing staff with that little bit of an extra library to go to whenever we need to know how to do something quickly. So for example, we're at the end of the year, we're coming to appraisal write-ups and everything like that. Quick little screencastify has been done, how to set up, how to load up your appraisal documents and so on. Staff have done that now instead of doing it in September, beginning of the year when we're trying to organize everything else. So it's being efficient. So new staff better prepared. Talked about that earlier, where we provide all of our new staff with all the documentation, all the policies they can possibly need, and they have access to that dashboard from the Word course, so they can see how we teach and how we provide our students with various tools to work from. Giving the staff the autonomy to take charge of their own personal development. The amount of staff who have now moved up in terms of their upskilling, we are approximately about 70, maybe 80 staff who are now level 1 trained in Google Educator, with a lot more now moving towards a level 2. I have a good chunk of people who now want to become Google trainers because they are ready to take on board that ability to train all the other staff, and we are making it subject specific. So our maths teachers are really looking into ways that we can digitalize the learning for the students using the maths tools, but digitalize it. Our English staff, which was one of the toughest, I've been doing this job for 7 years now, and they were one of our toughest departments to win around to use some sort of technology in their classroom because they didn't think there was a place for it. We are now in a situation where our English staff are using things like ThinkLink to set the scene for Macbeth. Giving the students a 360 feel of inside the castle, and setting the scene for that before they start going through that the book. So it's providing the staff with that autonomy to take charge of what they want out of their own professional careers there. Obviously, having an up-to-date record of all the training material and events that have taken place. And finally, forever evolving. It's one platform I created over for the first lockdown, because that was when we fast forward everything. We needed something there. So it was done over a few weeks, quite quickly. But now I'm at a stage now where that Cpd dashboard has not only provided Witton Park with their platform, we've taken it across a MAT. So all the primary schools that are in our MAT and the secondary schools that are in our MAT, they all have their own platforms. And it wasn't me who created that. The CPL lead, I trained her up on how to use sites and how to upload things and how to create things on Canva and bring that across. That training has enabled her to then go and provide the training to the rest of the schools in the MAT. And that is now evolving hugely. Me being the EdTech lead across the MAT now, when I go into these schools, I can see how they are using their CPD dashboard and how much of an impact that's having on their schools. Very last thing I just want to share with you is our personal CPD mission statement as a school. We've enhanced the professional learning of our teachers at every stage of their career. Okay, they can be here for 30 years. They still have so much more to learn. We've provided them with an innovative CPD program. It's engaging, it's purposeful, and it's been underpinned by evidence-based research. And that we think is extremely important. After 2 years almost, we had our very first face-to-face CPD training day last Wednesday. And being able to sit in that hall, it had a whole different feeling because it wasn't onerous on us to sit and take notes, or it was very much a collaboration time. It felt completely different because we had already been provided with the material. We knew what we were going to be talking about. We knew what the day was about, and we got a lot more out of that, having gone through it digitally first. So that's my presentation about the CPD program. I know there's been a lot of questions in the chat there, which I haven't picked up on, but I'm sure I can pick up on some of those.
I'll guide you through. Thank you, Zaitoon. That was brilliant. I'll guide you through the questions. I don't know if people just want to pop in the chat their appreciation for Zaitoon for taking the time. I felt that was really comprehensive. Thank you for that. So a couple of things that were coming through was Ian's asked a question about one staff, and I apologise for the noise. My window cleaner is now cleaning the windows. He's finished the gutters and he's now cleaning the windows. So it's perfect time. We all know how important feedback is. Where would I submit my feedback and questions once I'd read a book or a chapter? Because you mentioned the podcast, and I'm not sure it was clear where that would fit together. If I had questions, where would that go?
Yeah, so all of the questions about the book, we have got two people in place. We have our SLT member who takes care of all of our curriculum. She goes through each book before she sends it out to us, and then we have our CPL lead. We call it CPL, which is slightly different than CPD. We call it continuous professional learning. So our CPL lead, her primary role is to take on board all that evaluation, all those questions, and then do something with that. So if it needs a clarification from a teacher, if they need that one-to-one support, that one-to-one support is then provided. And that, believe it or not, there won't just be one teacher who needs that support. A host of teachers probably will need that support. So the 4 staff by staff play in here. So there is a session there that then gets organized for them to then join onto, and that then is then provided face-to-face as well.
Great, thank you. And then Ian also asked, is there a day one course for teachers? So the first day I come in, what does that day one look like? Is that different to what you showed us, or is that the same?
So sorry, say that again, the day one.
Day one, so if I was a brand new member of staff that came in, what would that look like for me on my first day?
Right, so currently we have all of our new staff in school today. So they having a tour of the school, so that's already been done. They have access to all their passwords and everything before they leave. So they have all that set up, ready to go. And then over the summer holidays, we then book in boot camps for them so that they are level 1 educators before they join us in September. So they are ready and good to go with Chrome and Chromebooks. And then on that first day, when they come in, they are then provided with whatever they need in order to get the curriculum up and going. They're ready to go on that first day. They don't need that. You tend to have a couple of days of settling in and trying to figure out where everything is and figure out how to use this and that's disappeared because they've got the training that they possibly would need digitally there ready for them. And they can look over that digital training in that time frame, that 6 weeks that they have before they join us. I'm talking summer holidays, but that is provided throughout the year. So if there's someone joining in Christmas holidays, the same process would happen. That time frame is still there for them.
Great, thank you.
I don't know if I answered the question there, Ian. I'm sorry, but I think
well, I think you did, and I think there were lots of questions, lots of appreciation for how detailed it is. And then a couple of questions then about figures, statistics, and numbers. So I'll phrase it in that: what does it look like from your point of view of who's accessing it, but also what does it look like from your point of view of who's helping you create it? Yeah.
So firstly, in terms of who's helping me create it, I created it in the initial process, as an initial platform. That took myself and Malini, who's our CPL lead, approximately about 2 months, maybe, just to really flesh out everything we needed on there. And then from that point, I'll be honest with you, I've given full reign to Malini. I personally have, I've stepped away from it because this is something that she does on a daily basis. This is her wide school role. She's one of our associate assistant head teachers. So her role is to provide the best CPD that there is on offer. And she will take that time to update and add any material that's needed on there. In terms of statistics and the data, we have got data analysis running in the background. And from that, I'm able to quite quickly see the engagement of our Cpd dashboard is being tapped into on a daily basis. On a daily basis, I can even see what aspects are being tapped into. So that all that data is getting taken. The aspects that are not being tapped in as much, we edit them. It's not something that just stays in the background. We edit them, we add stuff to it, we make it engaging, we make it inspiring. It isn't one thing that we are just going to keep adding stuff to and just become huge. It is something that is constantly evolving. What we need come 2021, 2022, any training that we need will come at the forefront. Everything that we need that we've done over 2021. So all of our virtual stuff, getting our staff teaching virtually, understanding all that's still there. so that if we were to go into another lockdown and we had new staff, that training is ready for them to go through. And that's all there.
I think it's that reflective nature as well. Georgina, we'll send the record. We'll put it on the YouTube channel afterwards so you can see Zaitoon's presentation. It was very comprehensive. We won't make her go through it again now. So I'll open it up to anyone else who's not had a chance to ask their questions. Ian, I can see you've raised a hand if you want to ask a question.
Yeah, Zaitoon, thank you for the presentation and awesome piece of work. So thank you for that. When just back on the book reading, so I've read pages 8 to 57 or whatever it is. As I'm reading through it, I'm thinking, oh, this is really either good, and I want to share this with the rest of my science sort of teachers, or I want to ask whoever has suggested the book, why this particular sort of issue or whatever else. So is there do you use Google Chat amongst the staff so I can just ask questions or share reflections in a more sort of real-time sense? That I think was where I was going with some of the feedback loop.
Yeah, we do use Google Chat a lot. We use it per faculty. We use it across the board as well. So any new initiatives that are coming up, we have a Google Chat team made up from that, and we're able to discuss whatever we need to discuss in terms of like asking or discussing certain aspects of a book that they've read. That would then come up with a podcast. That would then be a discussion with the CPEL lead and the person who's asked that question. That would then turn into a podcast, because that one person asking that question, that's just one person asked that question, but there's so many people who probably had similar questions, but not have had the time to approach Malini about it, or haven't thought, well, I don't want to approach her, for example. Yeah. And having that podcast and read and listening through that podcast, it's basically enabled us to understand that there's other people in the school who are going through the same thing that we're going through. Yeah. Whereas previously, we finished that training session in the hall for 2 hours. We used to walk out of there, and then that was it. That piece of information just sat on the bottom of our pile, and it stayed there. There was no discussion about it until we were asked about it a month later, and then we had to dig it all back up. Whereas having a podcast, we've had staff who drive in and listen to some of the past podcasts. They know what's happening across the school. We're a leading school for something called Arbinger as well. So Arbinger is a mindset change. So taking away the thought of it's taking away your self-thought. So you're not thinking, well, I want to do this for me and me alone. Yep. It's thinking more about how is my thought going to benefit my department or going to benefit my colleagues. So that process, we've all gone through that training. We've all understood the training. We've all, in a way, taken on board the principles of Arbinger. And that's where the podcasting fits nicely, because our staff are now more willing to listen to what other people have to say and take their ideas and their understanding on board and then implement it in their departments. Or if they still need further clarification, they're more willing now to go and speak to that person and say, oh, you did a podcast with Malini on this. It says, can you just explain this bit to me? Because I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, so more of a team sort of learning exercise. No, that's really good. I'll just steal another question from May. So for all of the great work that's being done, there might be some sort of staff who are still a bit reluctant sort of learners. How do you identify and support the people who are not as engaged as let's say everybody else? Because I'm assuming there's some people who still struggle.
Yeah, so it depends on what aspect you're looking into. So if we talk about EdTech, providing them with these how-to videos gets them moving, gets them understanding how to basically do the basic things. We went through a phase whilst the teachers were on the first lockdown where we got rid of all our Promethean boards and replaced it with the TV. So them coming back into school to teach, they had this new device and they had no idea how to use it. So again, providing them with those videos to teach them how to do that. I'll be honest with you, Ian, currently we have very little staff who are not willing to use that Cpd dashboard, because a lot of our staff find it really useful just to go back and find stuff and be able to look up how to do things by themselves without having to find the actual person who's leading on that aspect within school. So being able to do that in their own time has given them that little bit more confidence that they can upskill themselves. We are very, very much Chrome across the school. All of our staff have Chromebooks. They really don't have much access to Windows devices, to be honest. So they're on board with the use of Chrome and the use of Google. And when we went through the virtual learning, we went from having classes of 90 students and 3 teachers teaching 90 students. That's the first lockdown. And we did that to ease them in. And then quite quickly on the second lockdown, we said, right, you're teaching your full timetables virtually. And it was like that. It was literally, right, we're doing this. This is the best tool to use for this aspect. I'm a science teacher, and I was able to demonstrate practicals using my visualizer. Again, devices that we've bought in because we've met the needs of the teachers. Providing them with a second screen, for example, little things. We even provide them with a chair at home, make them comfortable. All those things had to be done in order to provide them with the students with the virtual learning that they deserved. And coming back into school, we have not let go of all those things that we've adapted and adopted to whilst we were on virtual. We've taken on a lot of that stuff, and we've made it our whole school kind of regime now. So the students know that everything's on Google Classroom. If their bubble bursts, they know that that's where the work's going to be, regardless of them in school or out of school. We currently have teachers teaching in school and then having a Google Meet running side by side for those students at home. So that's how we've adapted it, and that's only come about because of this mindset change, that it's not just us. It's not, you're not doing something for us personally. It's what's going to benefit the wider team. Yeah,
great example, Zaitoon. Okay, back to you, Sammy.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, Zaitoon, there's this commitment as you're talking to the benefit of others in everything that you're saying and doing. Is this benefit of others? And I think the podcast idea is wonderful. I think all too often we close things off, like you have to be invited to do this, or you have to be asked to do this. And I am a huge fan of you not having a party unless everyone's invited. So get everybody invited to your party, and it'll be a much better experience. And it sounds like you're living and breathing that. And yeah, anything that we can move away from sheep dip CPD is an absolute godsend for me, where we dip people in and hope it sticks. I'm going to stop the recording now. So thank you very much for joining us, Zaitoon, with your 10 things today.
Thank you.